All right, you guys, thanks for joining us here this afternoon for a brief update to the public and to the media. You know, we certainly realize that this particular investigation has a very high interest in the public, and it's also important for us due to the nature of this investigation that we do get information out to the public, so thank you very much. Unfortunately, I don't have much of a significant update at this time. It is still an ongoing investigation, and we are still at this time seeking our suspect in the shooting of the transit police officer yesterday afternoon. You might have heard that late this afternoon, Burnaby RCMP had arrested a person who was of a similar description to our suspect. Investigation has determined that this is not our suspect. Our suspect is still being sought by police. We do have a police presence in this area still at this time, although you will see at this time some of our police officers will be collapsing the scenes that they have been working on. As we've been combing through these areas, doing searches, we will be removing certain officers from certain areas and tasking them with different roles throughout this investigation. It does still remain our top priority investigation at this time. We are still seeking a suspect that we believe to be armed. Anyone who has any information, sees any suspicious activity or cites our suspect is asked to call 911. We also have a tip line set up. I can read out the number again, or if you guys want to put those graphics up for the public to see, we'd really appreciate that. We understand the concern of the public at this time. People obviously concerned knowing that we have a law enforcement officer that was shot in our community, and that is why we're putting so much importance on this investigation. Great deal of resources. We have not only Surrey RCMP officers working at this time, we also have emergency response team. And additionally, although our initial investigation and the evidence that we had, including witness accounts, have placed us in this area, and this is why we are so thoroughly combing this area for public safety. We've also notified other jurisdictions, notified other policing agencies, and we are letting the public, as a whole know that we are still looking for our suspect. Please remain vigilant, and do report that suspicious activity or suspect sightings if you do see them. We do very much appreciate the partnerships we have with other policing agencies, like Burnaby, as they do keep on the lookout for our suspect. This is our priority. We are hunting for the suspect, but our minds and hearts are also with the officer that was injured. We're wishing him the best, and we're working as hard as we can to find this suspect and bring them to justice. Well, as I said, we came to this area because this is where we had this incident happen. Based on the information that we've received from witnesses and investigational evidence that we've gotten, this is why we are thoroughly combing this area, as it relates to public safety. So that being said, we're not limiting our investigation to this specific area. Of course, there's the possibility that the suspect may not be in this area, which is why we do fan out the information to the public, as you are helping us do. We also even earlier, upon this incident happening, information has been disseminated throughout the Lower Mainland, and we have partners all across the Lower Mainland who are aware of this investigation and who are also looking for our suspect.
Will you be fanning out your search to other areas of Surrey as time goes on?
So as the investigational information comes into us, including tips from the public, which we have been following up on possible sightings, we've been following up on tips from the public. As new information does come to us, of course, it sends us in different directions for our investigation. We follow up on all those things. So, depending on what is found within the combing of these areas and the resources we have deployed, of course, that dictates the steps forward. So we are looking at lots of different investigational avenues. This is a priority for us, and we're going to continue to search for the suspect.
Are a lot of tips coming in on the tip line?
In terms of the number of tips, just from when I was on duty last night, we stayed very late into the night to try to get as much information as we could, both with your help and on our social media accounts. We've had a number of people giving us tips by both phoning in, and we've seen some things come across even on our social media, which, if you just allow me to make the point that if you do have a tip, please don't tweet it to us. Please phone either the tip line or phone 911. We're not always able to respond to Twitter. Maybe in the future that will be the technology that evolves, but please give those suspicious occurrences, give any information you have to us, either by 911 or by calling the police directly, not by social media.
What assurances are there for the public that
Well, you know what? It's understandable that people would be concerned. Thank goodness that this is not a common occurrence for us. So we are working very hard. We share the concern. We're taking this very seriously, and we want to reassure the public that we're putting all available resources into this investigation, and we're working as hard as we can to locate the suspect.
Which, like, the response to us yesterday was just enormous. We were getting calls with dozens and dozens of police officers. How do you say that this compares to other shootings and cases that they've had that triggered such a wide response that it's still
And this is something actually, thanks. This is one of those questions that's come to us even from the public, why is this response this way, and why don't we have responses to other shootings? Why are they so different? We deploy resources, regardless of who the victim might be, or regardless of, what the circumstances are. It is dependent on the circumstances of each file. In this case, we had a shooting which occurred at the SkyTrain station, and the information we received was an armed suspect running through an area that we could contain. So based on that information, a containment was set up, and now we've begun this process. So different shootings, different types of occurrences you've seen have, here and also throughout the Lower Mainland, depending on what those circumstances are, will dictate what resources are deployed. And I have to say that, we're, of course, having a law enforcement officer hits a little bit close to home for us as law enforcement. But we're talking about people, regardless of the job that you do. Whenever there is a shooting, whenever we have serious incidents, it's people first, and we will give the response that is required based on the information that we have and the situation that would dictate those resources. I can't give you any information that would be of that type of investigational nature, but, our investigators do believe that this person is the suspect that we're looking for based on, evidence they've collected to date. So I can't share with you all the evidence, but this is the suspect that we're looking for at this time. From what I hear, he's doing well. Of course, very upsetting. And as time goes on and the adrenaline comes down, I think that there's going to be a road ahead of recovery. But what's also been very great is to see the outpouring of support from the community, from not just our fellow law enforcement, but seeing just such an outpouring of love from the community. Thank you very much on behalf of the RCMP, and I would say even the transit police. So yeah, he's going to be recovering. Well, these are still things that we're putting together, and of course it's part of what our investigators are looking at, why this took place, what the motive was, putting together all the pieces, so hopefully as we do progress, maybe we can bring some of that information to the public.
Anything about the nature of the weapon? Obviously, we're very happy here that back home. Surprising, it's very, very give us any information on what kind of.
All I can say at this point is that we believe, a firearm is involved. Apart from that, I can't share those things. There's lots of forensics and different types of investigation that still has to come forward before we would be able to get into those kind of details. Again, these are details that I'm not able to give to the public at this time, and everyone wants to know.
Like, it happened at 4 o'clock, rush hour. There's so many people on the SkyTrain at that time, coming and going. Like, could you paint us a picture of what transpired? Were people held back? Like, were people in the middle of the shooting?
Yeah. Well, these are all questions that I can understand that the public, this is a very dramatic event. It's traumatizing for the community to have something like this occur. And these are all things that, of course, everybody wants to know, but unfortunately, they're things that I can't share with you at this time. I would really like to. I would like to be able to give people that peace of mind, but as our investigation goes on, I need to help protect the integrity of that investigation, and I'm not able to share those right now.
Can you say anything about where the suspect was before this?
We do understand the concern for the public, and we have said that when we have a person who is armed and has, been involved in a shooting, that does pose a risk to the public. We're asking people to be vigilant and to report suspicious activity to us. We want you to continue to go about your day-to-day business. We have reopened the area to residents here. But, we do want you to still keep your eyes open. We have a suspect that we're still looking for that does present some risk to the public, and which is why we are taking it to, very seriously. And we are out here briefing you right now, reminding the public. You may have heard that there was a suspect in custody. There is no suspect in custody at this time. So that means don't let your guard down yet. If you see someone you think may be our suspect, please give us a call. Assist us, pardon me, any way you can. Sorry. And that would be very helpful. So no one is in custody.
Can you tell us anything about the whereabouts of the suspect
Sorry.
before? Can you tell us anything about the whereabouts of the suspect before? Was he on the train and was getting off at the Scott Road station? Or was he getting on the train?
Again,
Do you have a better idea of where people might be looking a little bit more diligently? That they should be within Vancouver or US?
again, those are details that I can't share with you at this time. I think regardless of where you are, we have, come here and cordoned off these areas based on the initial information. But it doesn't mean we're limiting, sorry you guys, pardon me, it doesn't mean we're limiting our investigation by any means. So if you do live in another community that is not Surrey, and you believe that you see our suspect or suspicious activity, then please call 911. So yeah, we're not limiting ourselves in that way.
Can you just confirm that the person that was arrested by RCMP was released?
That information I don't have because I'm not sure what their initial reason for arresting that person was. I'm not sure about their investigation, but what I can tell you is that person that they arrested or detained is not our suspect. So beyond that, I have no information about their person.
And can you talk about, we saw that your neighborhood kind of blocked off the roads with police cars and every block. Can you tell us what officers are doing there? We saw officers knocking on doors, some searching homes, asking for ID. Can you tell us what's actually happening other than what we're
Yeah, I mean, to give people a little bit more understanding, I guess, of what combing the area means, that's exactly what they do. Just as you've said, they will go residence to residence. We do look in yards, sheds, to see if our suspect might be, hiding, all these types of things. So, we really want to leave no stone unturned in this area. So we're looking very hard in this area. I mentioned in the beginning of this briefing that as we are finishing off thorough searches of certain areas that we have had blocked off, we will be removing officers. You're going to start to see that, and those officers will be retasked with other roles in this investigation. But although you may not see officers at certain points anymore, we want you to know that this is still a top investigational priority for us, and officers are still working very hard to apprehend the suspect.
And there was a particular house that officers were going in and out of. There was a lot of attention on this one house. Is that where usually the suspects lived or went into?
I can't give you, I'm sorry, I know I don't want to frustrate you. I don't want to frustrate the public. I have a need to protect the integrity of our investigation as it goes forward. Yes, there was investigational reasons for us to go to that house. I can't give you much clarification on that, but there was some interest as far as our investigation goes, which led police to that residence. We didn't make any arrests at this point, and we don't have a suspect in custody. Okay. Yeah, this was a firearm, but still, like I said, there's some forensics and investigational stuff. So in terms of identifying what type of firearm, what type of weapon we're dealing with exactly, I can't give you more details yet.
Did the transit police open fire?
I'm not going to be able to provide those answers today, but what I can tell you is that we're working very hard, including in partnership with the transit police. This is a very obviously significant event for their police department. We're doing everything that we can to locate our suspect, including working with them very closely to determine, what happened in this shooting. That's something that they didn't share with me. They said, I have a video L for you to send out, and I sent it out. So to me, it looks like a person leaving the platform, but I can't confirm that to you, no. I have time maybe for one more question if you guys have. I can't, with the Privacy Act and that, it's not my place to speak about his injuries, but he is recovering well from what I understand and in good spirits. Again, I can't get into those details at this time. I hope to be able to bring you more. We're working very hard, and I really would like nothing more than to do an update that we have got the suspect. So, going to continue to work, and we'll bring you guys more information as soon as we can. Okay, thanks everybody.